Welcome to another episode of Dessert Devotion, where I am sharing with you two of my favorite things, great easy dessert recipes, and an encouraging word. Today's featured recipe is an ice cream sundae in a brownie cup. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'll start with just a box of brownie mix. My favorite is Ghirardelli. I'll fix it according to the directions. Just 1/3 cup of oil and 1/4 cup water, and then just 1 egg. And I always like to beat my egg a little bit before pouring it into the mix. From there, I'll just take a spoon and stir it up, just making sure that it's moist and well blended. So that part is easy enough. I'm going to use my favorite cooking spray, Baker's Joy, for baking. It's great. It's a combination of oil and a little bit of flour. It is perfect to keep things from sticking. So spray a muffin tin very generously. Then I'm going to use an ice cream scoop to start scooping my brownie batter into the muffin tin. The key here is you want each muffin cup to be about 2/3 full. That way, for the next step, you'll have a nice full bowl right when it bakes up. I also watch the batter. It will spread a little bit, and then sometimes I'll go back over each space in the muffin tin just to make sure that each of them are full to the right level. So 2/3 is just about perfect. These are ready to go into the oven on 350 for about 20 minutes. Now I'm going to turn my second tin over and spray the bottom of it with my Baker's Joy. Be very generous because you do not want the tin to stick to our brownies in the next step. I'm going to take my brownies out of the oven, and immediately I'm going to grab that other muffin tin and press them together. Now don't be afraid here to press down really well because you are pushing the brownies to make them into bowls. I've seen recipes where you can cook the brownie batter with the second tin sitting on top of the first, but then you have to worry about it overflowing in your oven. So this is a better technique. And from here, we will just leave it to cool. So while those brownie cups are getting completely cool, we're going to settle in for a time of devotion. You know, this summer for us, like everyone else, has been a lot more quiet than normal. And even as we have maybe perhaps been spending more time with, say, extended family now, maybe a few close friends, we're all still being pretty responsible and cautious, right, about not spending too much time in larger groups. It's been a quiet summer with a lot more time with close family, or maybe even a few close friends. It's meant for us a lot more time outdoors, exploring state parks and just spending time in nature. On the other hand, I gotta say, I love to entertain. My husband and I love to have over all of our family. We love to have over our friends, and I kind of miss having the bigger parties, the birthday parties and the cookouts. My husband even teases that I will invent occasions and holidays so that I can have an excuse to have people over and serve as host. We really miss a lot of those things, and that was kind of an important part of our lives, and maybe you feel the same way. Well, in first century Rome, entertaining was a very important central part of their social environment as well. In fact, inviting people over for dinner was a way of economic climbing and developing relationships for businesses and trade. And it was also an important political practice to invite people over, perhaps to curry a favor in the community, to influence someone who may have had some political power in the Roman Empire. And so today, as we look at our text in the 14th chapter of Luke, Jesus is at a Pharisee's house, knowing that this is a part of the custom, that it was important to decide who was going to be at your table, that there were social norms and understandings around hosting, and that people hosted people at their homes for a reason. You didn't spend that time and that money and that energy to invite people over unless you wanted something from them. But Jesus, as the guest, turns that upside down. In the 14th chapter, in verses 12 through 14, he said also to the one who had invited him, "When you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or rich neighbors, in case they may invite you in return and you would be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind, and you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." In other words, instead of inviting people over thinking about what they could do for you, invite people into your homes and play the host with the idea in mind of what you can do for them. In the same vein, John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, writes in his own notes about this scripture, "Is it not implied herein that we should be sparing and entertaining those that need it not, in order to assist those that do need with all that is saved from those needless entertainments?" Boy, this year has been a crazy one, but it really brings that to a point. I mean, John Wesley's idea right now is not so crazy. If you're someone who likes to entertain like I do, you think about the time that you put into parties and dinners and cookouts. Think about what you may spend on the grocery alone, on decorations, or maybe just getting things ready or repaired around the house because you know you're having guests over. And even if you think to yourself, well, I'm not a big host, I'm not a big entertainer. Surely, if you think back to last year, what did you do for the 4th of July? What did you spend at the grocery store? What did you spend on the grill? Did you buy a propane tank? Did you buy maybe even matching paper cups and plates? There's some cost and energy that goes into things like that, even if it's just every once in a while. Did you have a graduation party last year? Were you invited over friends and family? Did you buy a cake, decorations? What about the food there? There's a cost that goes into entertaining. So John Wesley has a point. If we think about this year when we're not traveling as much, when we're not entertaining as much, what if we were to take that money and that energy to play host in a different way? We can't entertain and host our family and friends like we're used to, but we could use that kind of money and energy and put it towards people and ministries, our neighbors, those who really need it the most right now when it's a pretty difficult time. Think about our propane tank money, that matching cup and plate money, the tablecloth money, the decorations money, the hors d'oeuvres money, the steaks on the grill money that you haven't spent this year. And maybe we should ask ourselves, where can we play the host to others who need it the most? You know, it would be a blessing. Not only would we not have to clean up those chaotic kitchens, those trampled lawns, figuring out what to do with all of those leftovers. But specifically, we are blessed, Jesus teaches, because we have taken that time and money and energy instead and invested it in the life of someone else, specifically someone who could not do that for us in return. Jesus also says that we will be blessed and even repaid at the resurrection when Jesus returns. Now let's see how they look. Oh, it's perfect. It didn't stick a bit. Now I'm just going to grab a spoon and carefully lift them out, kind of loosening the edges. And look, they lift right out. Now we're ready to make our sundaes. And now the fun part. I'm going to use a Moose Tracks ice cream for my sundae with chocolate fudge and mini peanut butter cups. And if that's not enough, I'm going to top it with some warm caramel. Think of all the different ice cream flavors and toppings that taste great with a brownie cup. You gotta put your ice cream in something. Well, I know that you will have lots of fun trying out this recipe. And as you share with your family and friends, I know for me, I'll be also thinking about how I can play the host in our community as well. And I pray that you will do the same. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Dessert Devotion.